Thought it did.
All right. Yeah, I think we're recording now. All right. Well, my name is Pittsburgh Pat, and I'm here with Ryan from Verdigris Table. How you doing today, Ryan?
So far, so good. What's up, Pat? How
Cool.
you feeling?
Good. I'm excited. Today, I am going to teach kids how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and that's always fun. This would be my third year doing this, and who knew this was going to be a semi-career? But yeah, so I wanted to talk to one of my favorite DMs and Dungeons and Dragons gurus, Ryan, on like, every year I come up with different, I refine my like program techniques on trying to teach kids, and I've got 12 kids this afternoon, and only two of them are returning from last year's session. So there's 10 sixth graders. So we might have to regress, although probably not too far for me, regress into the mind of a 12-year-old. And, see if I were being presented this for the first time, or if I had some awareness of Dungeons and Dragons through Stranger Things or other, intellectual properties, what's the most exciting way to be introduced to this? So I'm going to throw some ideas out there of what I'm thinking about doing today, and I'd love to get your honest and insightful feedback and critique. So
Yeah,
that's
sounds good. I love
that's
bringing in new people, and there's something about like the beginner's mindset, whether you're whatever, a full-on adult or a child, or in that awkward stage between the two.
eternally, yeah, and that's the I think that's the fun of it. So that's what this video is going to be about. So let's hop to it. Um, like I said, I'm going to have to take attendance. So like there's some housekeeping and that sort of thing. So one of the things I got off of the internet was some "Hello, my name is" tags, and these I think are going to be pretty useful. I mean, they'll be a really good way for me to like take attendance because I think, and here's the thing. Okay, so should I have the kids like write their own names on them? Or should I just have them all filled out with their names on them ahead of time? Like, okay, go ahead and grab your name tag and, you know, put it on. Is that
Hmm.
way? So the advantage of doing it that way is that like if there's one left over, I'm like, okay, who didn't get a name tag? And then I know who's like not in attendance. The other thing is it's a cheat sheet for me to like get to know everybody's names. I'll wear one too, so that they know my name. And instead of writing it up on the whiteboard or the chalkboard or whatever, well, I'll probably do that too. Or do I get them into the participation part? But the thing is, I'm worried about being like unruly at the beginning of the class. So what's your idea on that?
I like having it filled out first because you get a couple birds with one stone. One, yeah, it's your attendance. Like the remainder is who's not there. Check. Um, Two, you're cutting out potential hijinks. And like we're trying to cultivate hijinks, but like if you write it down, one, you can read it. Two, it's the person's actual name.
Good point. I thought about that. Yeah, I thought about that. So what if somebody's more advanced and they put their, character name on there? But that's the other thing for other sessions, people who aren't necessarily teaching the class, but are like doing this in like a game store, or they're doing it with their friends, and maybe they're inviting a bunch of people that are in their friend group, but maybe they're not each other's friends group.
Mm.
Like nothing wrong with a name tag. Might seem a little hokey for adults to do that, but I think it prevents awkwardness in a lot of situations, mixers, business meetings, things like this, conventions. Like I've even been known to like wear one of those around with my name and my character's name on it if I'm doing a cosplay, something like that. So like, or a witty phrase on it or something like that, so. Anyway, that was yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to fill out the stickers ahead of time, and then we'll go from there.
And it also helps you get like into the action, right? Like you said, it could take 30 seconds. It could turn into a 30-minute ordeal of like, no, I want that red marker or whatever the case is.
Right.
Like better to just have them ready to rock. They're obligatory. Everybody's wearing them, so it does create some sense of, okay, we're on a team here. It's like a uniform or camaraderie. Like
Oh
we're
yeah.
all okay, this
Yeah.
is slightly awkward and uncomfortable, but like,
Yeah, it's an
oh, it's gonna get more
equalizer.
awkward and uncomfortable if you don't embrace the weirdness. So let's go.
Yeah, it's an equalizer because everybody's doing it. So that's another point too. That's really good. Yeah, so I don't want to belabor that too much, but speaking of getting to the action, so like that's the other thing. Okay, so I'm thinking about running Goblin Arrows, or at least like the first like 5, 10 minutes of it. I have the idea of like taking the pre-gen sheets from Lost Mines of Vandelver, right? So we
Mm.
have the pre-gens. There's like a couple fighters. There's a wizard. There's a cleric, and there's one other character. But
Rogue,
anyway,
off the top of my head.
a rogue. Yeah. So I figure we were talking about this actually last night when we were playing D&D, because we do that on Tuesdays. The you know, 4 groups of 3 because there's 12 of them, or 3 groups of 4, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of that? So what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I think we should elucidate your idea of
Oh, right.
having multiple players
Right.
controlling a character as like a
Right.
tutorial level because I think that's brilliant. Because like yeah, you told me last night, yeah, there's gonna be 12 kids. It's like, oh boy, that's a big
Right.
table.
So if you
Or
give
you
every kid a character, like you're not going to get around. I mean, even if you had like seasoned adults playing D&D, getting a round of combat or actions in with 12 characters at a table is going to be like ridiculous. So why not simplify it, condense it, right? So we'll have like, you know, either 3 or 4 character sheets and then either 3 or 4 human beings deciding what that character is going to do. So a couple ideas of that is like it's gonna immediately tell the students like, okay, this isn't necessarily you as in the fiction, right? In the scenario, coming across these fallen horses and cart that's been, ransacked. This is your character doing that, and so it distinguishes between those two things. Um,
I
but
really like that. I think that's
yeah,
really smart because you're building in like, okay, this is collaborative, this is teamwork, and there isn't getting rid of that like one-to-one player to character, which eventually you're gonna get to anyway, right? But
right.
like starting off, no, like the three of us by committee are gonna determine like what this guy would do, not what the best thing is to do, although maybe it is that, not what I would do, but this cleric in this scenario, what is the likely motivation or emotion that these guys are going to take? I think it's smart. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm very interested to get,
Yeah.
I'm interested in the next episode of this conversation.
Right, me too, to see how much of this like just went and fell through because I think that's why this video will be useful to people who are going to do this sort of thing because they'll be like, "Hey, I have this idea where everybody's sitting down and they're quiet," and that's not what happens, right? Everybody runs in because it's after school. They've already had a whole day of being talked to and disciplined, and like sit down and shut up and do your thing, and pay attention. And this is supposed to be fun, right? So I don't want it to be like a necessarily a classroom environment, but there has to be some structure. Otherwise, nobody's going to learn anything. You're not going to know how to do the mechanics of the game. And I guess that's what I'm really getting at. The role playing element, awesome if they pick up on that, but more about like, okay, where on the character sheet do I find an investigation check, like and then having like 3 minds looking at that sheet and going, oh, wait, it says investigation right here. Okay, that's great. It says plus, it says 2. What does that mean? you know it says -2. What is it? -1. What does that mean? So, and then going and then having that be a natural introduction to like ability checks or that sort of thing. So I think having that sense of teamwork, being on a team, and not having us be like, and that's the thing we talked about last night too, is I think most kids, play games like we all do, play games on our phone, play video games, whatever. A lot of those games are adversarial, right? There's an objective, you win or lose, right? So either your avatar either loses a life or it like achieves the objective, or even if you're playing a board game like Risk or Monopoly, it's like who wins, right? Uh, but this, D&D is totally different, right? So it's like it's all of the players like coming together to work together and complete an objective. And I think that's one of the great things about this for this age group is that, we're teaching them teamwork. We're teaching them the win-win situation, which hopefully, like when they get into a job in business or wherever, those are skills that there are going to be useful for them to like work, on a team, as it were. So yeah, so it's like I'm teaching them without them knowing they're being taught, you
Mm.
know. It's just the sneaky part, right? So yeah, but as far as like the logistics, what do you think? Groups of three or groups of four kids?
I like the odd number because it precludes stalemate essentially, right? Like there's always a tiebreaker. Like if two people think, I don't know, I project forward into like disagreements or
Mhm.
whatever, negotiations, let's say. So there's an odd number of odd number of players seems easier to get to the resolution faster.
Mhm.
Um, Also, my impulse is like more characters, like right, like a party of four is a little better game balance wise. It's probably not.
Mm.
You're an experienced dungeon master, right? Like,
Yeah, I
I'm not
can
worried.
nerf
Like,
it.
you're
Mhm.
willing and able and ready to fudge and create opportunities to not kill all of these characters.
Mhm.
Goblin Arrows, being the beginning of Lost Mine of Phandelver, is known for its deadliness
Mhm.
if you just let things run their course. But yeah, I think having more characters is probably the better idea. I think the enemy of all dungeon masters, but especially a dungeon master with new players who are Gen Alpha, is boredom, right?
Right.
I'm always trying to achieve peak engagement when I'm dealing with 40 and 50-year-old dudes. Like, when you have sixth graders, like, yeah, you need everybody involved at a certain point. The more people who are participating on one sheet of paper, the more likely someone is left out in the wings and less engaged and picking up their phone or
Right.
bothering somebody else or whatever.
Well, okay, so that brings me to the other thing about like immediate engagement. So like do I, set up the like a game mat ahead of time? So like, do I unroll the game mat ahead of time before they get in the classroom, draw the road on it, have like the minis on the map when they walk into the room to like engage them, or do like I make them roll it out. I say, hey, I need a volunteer, roll out the map. Okay, everybody get some books, like put this down. Okay, who's good at drawing? Like, okay, draw me a a road. Okay, here's a bag of minis. Like go through the bag and grab a couple things that look like horses, or grab something that looks like your character. Like, so should I have it like set up already, or do you think it's more engaging for the kids to like go and tactilely touch things and create the map and that sort of thing, at least for the first scenario?
I really like the idea of their drawing the map. It gives them investment in the world, and it's also kind of like a magic trick, right? Like if the magician's using the deck of cards they just pulled out of their pocket, you're like, okay, this is fixed. But like if you produce the battle map and then you've made this world where this action takes place, you're giving them a little taste of world building and dungeon
Right.
mastering right out of the gate. And it's like, oh yeah, it could have been anything. Like you could have drawn this road through this forest 100 different ways and it would still work. And I don't know if they'll realize that right out of the gate, but I think that's cool. And I think that could actually potentially, because I'm always trying to build dungeon masters, not players.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's my secret agenda the
That's
whole
right.
time. And yeah, with 12 kids, you're going to have to do that eventually, right? So yeah, I think it's good. Is there a world where 12 kids are drawing on the same battle map? That I don't know. Um,
Right.
Maybe it's like one person's turn, or someone's doing the horses, someone's doing the trees, someone's doing the road. I guess there's like a turn-based collaborative, like you draw the road, okay, you add a detail, everybody adds one thing to the map.
Okay. I like that. Turn-based collaborative. Okay. I didn't think of that, but I like that. It's like, okay, one marker. All right, it's your turn. You draw the road. Okay, it's your turn. You draw the card. Okay, who's good? Who wants to draw three trees? Who wants to draw, the, yeah, that's really good. I didn't think of that, but I like that.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it's the groups too, right? Maybe there's like
yeah, yeah.
four divisions
But that,
collectively. You're figuring out the road or the where the horses are or whatever it is.
but you're absolutely right. The goal here, you know, in stage whatever, one of the goals is that eventually these kids are going to be able to run this game by themselves.
Mm.
So at some point, I want to be like, okay, here's three groups. There's three, I got three battle mats. Every group has one. There's enough like minis to go around. And, hopefully by session six, this is a 6 week thing. They're like, I'm walking around the room monitoring, them if they need help, right? And each of them are doing their own creative game. So like that's where we're getting to. So doing that, you're right. From doing that from step one, having them actually physically drawing the map, I think I like that. I like that idea a lot. Although you did give me these wonderful battle maps. Here, let me grab one.
Mm.
Um, which I did a video. I did a video of this, and I don't even think I published it yet. But you gave me these wonderful like Kickstarter maps that are like in a binder like this. And if you page through these, like they've already got like, like coastlines and that sort of thing. But then some of them actually have like the actual like, oops, that's not a good example. Where is it? Oh, they'll actually have like tents and like, a campsite, and you can see like trees on there and that sort of thing. And so yeah, so this is like ready to go, and this is pretty cool. But like I do like the idea of like having the kids use their imagination to invent this, because like you said, they get invested in it, right? So yeah, cool, cool, cool. The other idea I had, so at some point though, like I want to like go through the mechanics with them of like, rolling dice. So I have a whole bag of dice. So each of them can get their own. And but see, I don't know if I want to introduce this just yet. At this stage, I think in order to have a sense of control as the dungeon master, I will have one D20 and I will pass it, or maybe I'll have one D20 for each group. And then when I say like, okay, roll a D20 to do like an investigation check or an ability check, then they can do that. I don't know that I want to give them like each their own set of dice just right away,
Hmm.
because that's going to be maybe a little bit distracting at the beginning. Maybe that's the beginning of the next class. Um, but yeah, so in this 1 hour time block, I want to like have them like running like these characters, deciding what the character's going to do, rolling some d20s, and yeah, I think like having control over that dice maybe. Um, if it's one, then like only one team gets a chance to do it, and it passes along. Maybe that instills a sense of like, the fact that this is going to be them taking turns.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I could see arguments for either way. I think it's
Uh-huh.
probably wise to not hand out a set to every kid because now we're stacking them and throwing them around and whatever.
Right. Right.
Do you have like a big chunky D20? Like,
I I have a couple D6s like that. But yeah, I
mhm.
should. You're right. I should get like a big foam like D20 that like
There's like a
like
million
rolled
versions
across the
of it.
room. Yeah, great idea.
But like, yeah, one that I can see from across the table, like the result. I like the idea of like, this is literally the spotlight object, right? Like the conch shell, and
Mm.
whoever's holding it gets to talk. Um, I like that idea. I also really like the idea of, yes, here's the D20. This is the core thing. If I'm going to start by explaining the difference between these seven Platonic solids versus like
Yeah,
here's the fun part of this game, right? And
right.
it's not the math. Eventually, the clickety clackety math rocks are fun, but like, wait, which one do I use is not fun, and we don't need that right away.
Yeah.
Having one D20 is cool, especially if you're starting with like skills, right? It's not just
Hmm.
like goblins attack. It's what is
Mm-mm.
your character doing on this road trip? Like, this guy's driving the car, this guy's keeping watch, whatever. Like those are all skill-based things, or potentially not even rolls. So yeah, I like starting with the D20. If and when combat breaks out, all right, your character has a bow and arrow, here's their D6. Your character has a sword, here's a D8. Like, here's the one damage die. You roll this to do
Mm.
stuff, you roll this if you hit,
Mhm.
whatever. Someone casts a spell, okay, maybe a different die comes out. But the limitation is cool. And then I also think you are building in the bonus when, oh, these are now I get all of these, right? Like it's
Mm.
you're meeting out
The
dopamine hits.
reward.
It
Right,
rewards.
right, right. Exactly. The serotonin, right? So it's like, or whatever the dopamine, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's a good point. I like that. So like it's that keeps it simple. I like the idea. Okay, so instead of seven dice, one dice. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that. All right, cool. Yeah, I think like enough turns of doing that, like will probably occupy the hour. And if we get to the entrance to the cave, so I think that's could be day one. I was thinking originally of like doing this for like a half hour and then maybe giving them either some blank character sheets. So here's the other idea. Like the other thing I want to ask you about. Do I give them like when it's time to generate characters, which is another fun part of D&D.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the advantages of giving them pre-made characters and doing this exercise first with the pre-made characters is that now they've been informed of a few things so that when they go to generate their own characters, they know a little bit about what they're trying to do, right? They're not just writing down random numbers like, okay, this 16 goes in strength and blah, 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 blah. Now they're like, oh, the advantages of having a high strength as opposed to a high wisdom is this, right? So anyway, so that's the logic of doing the pre-gens first instead of just starting out with character creation on day one, right?
I like that. I'm an advocate for pre-gens for new players. Even honestly, sometimes experienced players just like handing out like
Yeah,
curated characters that fit the scenario or whatever the case is. But making characters is a lot of fun if you know what you're doing and what this stuff means, and you don't. If you start by making a character, you don't know what half of this stuff means.
right.
It's obscured because of the history of like, I used to roll 3d6s and that's what gave you the 18. Why does 18 mean 4? I don't like it's all very strange at first. So experiencing what these numbers are doing, right? Just like, okay, you're adding this number to a D20. That's simple. Doing that first for a while might also give you a taste of like what kind of cat, what do you like being good at? Here's the range of options. What kind of character do you want to be? Do you want to be the sneaky guy? Do you want to be the strong guy? Do you want to
Right.
be the fast guy? Do you want to be the healer? Do you want to be the magical glass cannon? These archetypes that you're building towards, having those in mind first, versus a bunch of numbers that looks like a math problem, especially to a sixth grader, but even to an adult, right? It's like get to the fun part, get to the fun part, and then it's worth putting in the effort.
Well, that's the thing. I found a simple, so I've had this experience where I've given them a blank character sheet, and instead of them just focusing on the primary, six characteristics, now they're like asking me, "Oh, well, what's armor class?" And
Mm,
like, it's like, "Well, we're not there yet, so
yeah,
like slow down, slow down." And
yeah.
like every blank spot, like a crossword puzzle has to be filled, right? There's a lot of anxiety about like not having the whole character sheet filled out, right? So, and this is awesome. There's curiosity, and they're actually asking me things. But I found kind of a different way of doing it, and I found this simplified version online that I've modified. It's like D&D character sheet. It's basically a questionnaire, right?
Mm.
So it's more like, and it doesn't really have any numbers on it. It's more like, it's like, okay, what's your name? What's your class? And it gives you fighter, wizard, ranger, healer, animal friend, trickster, and you can circle one, right? Or make it your own. And then it has race, which I should have changed to like species, but it's this is an old version I found online. Elf, dwarf, human, gnome, dragonkin is what it says here. Animal person, so like you want to be an aarakocra or a bird, man. So like, and and then if there is an existing D&D equivalent, we can attribute like uh, features, like species features into their primary statistics. But I mean, I can do that intuitively, but
Hmm.
like when it comes time to doing their character sheet, they can refer back to this questionnaire and then use that to inform like what they want to do on the actual like, official Dungeons and Dragons character sheet. But like and then it says like abilities, strength, dexterity, magic, kindness, smarts, and bravery, which magic, I was like, okay, let's maybe call that wisdom. Kindness, we'll call that charisma. Uh, Smarts can relate to intelligence, obviously. Bravery, I was thinking, well, that could be like constitution, sort
Hmm.
of. Um, but like it says, pick three that you want to be good at, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of like min-maxing, right? Like when you like take a character, for those of us who have experience, and you're just like doing a point buy generation. You're like, okay, I'm gonna put 15s in like my three primaries and eights in my like, the ones that I don't care about, the dump stats, right? And that makes for a fun character because you got things you're really good at and things you're really, really bad at, which, makes things a lot of, fun. And it also has like inventory, like, choose three things that you own, like a sword, a magic wand, a bow, a potion, a spell book, a pet. Kids love to have pets,
Hmm.
especially the
Hmm.
elementary school kids. Like kids from like third grade to fifth grade, like they love to have you know, a cat or like a pseudo dragon or like, something that's like running around the world with them. The complication of that is though, sometimes they want to have their character take a turn and have their pet take a turn. And that's like, that slows everything down.
Yes.
So what's the solution to that, right?
I mean, in game,
Hmm.
you can tell your pet can do a thing or you can do a thing, but not both.
Exactly. That was
And
a
that
solution I came up with.
that feels
It's like,
fair.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have a hawk on your arm. Yeah, you can't swing your sword. You can tell your hawk to go like fly somewhere and look at something, but you can't like pull out your sword at the same time as you have your hawk on your arm. Like that's just that doesn't work, right? So yeah, and then like this questionnaire goes on to like, what am I good at? Like tell me two fun things your character can do.
Hmm.
And I've done this in other ways, especially with the little ones, is I've just given them a blank sheet of paper and like, okay, if you could wake up tomorrow and you could have two special abilities, walk through walls, fly, turn invisible. I mean, like, who's your favorite superhero, right? Are you a Spider-Man guy? Are you a Superman guy? Could you create fire out of your hand, or could you heal like with your hand? Like what's your thing? And oftentimes I'll ask the kids like, what's your favorite like, universe? Like, are you a Marvel person? Are you a Pokemon, person? Like what are some of your favorite things? And then go around the room and have the kids discuss that. Now, that's sometimes my session zero. But if I'm going to I can't do both, obviously, at the same, like first, like simultaneously. So if I'm going to do the map thing with the Goblin Arrow scenario and the pre-gens, should I do that first and then do like the questionnaire later? Or maybe the questionnaire kind of falls by the wayside?
It's a good question. I think, well, theoretically, you're gonna have people like filter in, and there's an after-school activity. I mean, I don't know, maybe they show up as a cohort, but
You're
different kids
supposed
from
to
different
be there within
classrooms.
like 5 minutes of like,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay. Yeah. Maybe like the first couple, like, oh yeah, draw a map, right? And then when it's everybody, It's interesting. I might save the variety for a few whatever sessions.
Mm,
I might start with like this is what D&D is, or
mm,
this is what D&D can be, because there is a default set of assumptions, right? This kind of magic, this kind of power progression, this kind of it's goblins, right? It's Lord of the Rings, it's fantasy, it's not sci-fi. All of those things are available to us, but like I
right.
like to start with vanilla. And honestly, I think vanilla is I like a good vanilla D&D in general.
Mm,
I might start there and then blowing the limits off of the thing. It feels additive, not subtractive, right? Like, how can I make Spider-Man in this game as a level one character? Like, oh, yeah, we can get there, but honestly, like,
right.
how do I get Thor? I was like, well, I mean, Mjolnir is probably a pretty like I can't give you call lightning at level one, kid. You know, like so there's like a lot of negotiation where it's like you're a dude with a sword, hit the ground running, and like
Okay.
eventually, cool. You want this sword to look like a lightsaber? Sure, yeah, we can do that if we all agree that that's the case. Yes, but I would start from a shared experience and then go from there, especially as we're breaking out into tables. Maybe I don't know if we're getting into like home brew or you know when a kid is running their own session, they can bring in their own elements of
Mhm.
whatever. You want your fine familiar to come out of a Pokeball. Dope. Cool. Yeah. Yes, and let's go.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. No, I think what I'm basically trying to do is give them the tools, right?
Mm,
Give them the operations, show them like the mechanics, and then boom. After that, I want them to unleash their imaginations. I want them to tell their stories, right? It does, I can show them the module. Like I can actually like peel back the curtain and show them like, read this text box, right? From the module of, Lost Minds of Fandelver and say like, okay, so if you're the dungeon master, you have this to refer to give you ideas on like, how many goblins are in this chamber? What do they want?
mm,
Yes, they're guarding a prisoner, but they also want to be, this guy wants to be head of the group. So if he says you go over to this chamber and you take care of this guy, incapacitate him or scare him away somehow, and I get to be like king of this group of goblins, then I will give you a reward, I'll give you this prisoner plus X amount of gold or whatever. Um, you know, that type of thing, like, you could, that's in the scenario. And then from there, they can make up their own scenarios, but I think you're right. Like giving them a base, giving like, this is D&D, right? D&D is based on medieval fantasy, Tolkien. So we can talk a little bit about that. If you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, it's out there. You can see like bits and pieces of it on, YouTube. You don't have to have an HBO Max subscription. Um, but like, it's, this is where it came from. So yeah, so I think I've got enough to go on day one now. I think I've got enough ideas here. I like the idea, I think, of like having the battle mat out, having them draw the battle mat, um, picking like figurines, uh, the pre-gens, splitting up into groups, having them go one at a time, using the die to like signify whose turn it is, one die, and then yeah, and then go from there. I think that'll be enough for hour one, and then we'll see what happens in hour two. So I'll report back to you and see if any of this is at all successful.
I'm looking forward to it. An idea struck me. You have if you have four colors, right? Those name tags could also be the group, right? You could have them color coded because there is like
Mhm.
the schoolyard picking teams, political dynamics of it all.
Oh,
Um,
so I could already have the teams based on the
just be like, all
color.
right, green guy's over there, blue guy's over there,
Right.
and now the because like you're gonna have a big negotiation of like what character is each team.
Uh,
I might even go a step further, like green guys are the cleric, but
Yeah. Yeah, like you got to you just for this particular session because I'm sure there'll be anybody who has any familiarity with it. The kids are like, but I want to be a green dragonborn wizard, with this that and the other and a staff of this. If they have that much knowledge, it'll be
Mm.
like, yeah, 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 yeah. But just for right now, like here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do this exercise for today, and then we'll do that. But like, this is what we have. This is what you have. You have what's on this sheet right now, and just imagine that, and we'll go from there. Because I don't want to like squelch their creativity, but there has to be some order. Otherwise, like the whole thing can fly off the rails.
Yeah, and I think like this is a discrete tutorial. This is not who you are for the rest of the school year or
Right.
whatever the case is. Like right now, we're gonna learn the mechanics. Some of you know, a lot of you don't. Let's let's get through this. And then the goblins attack, and it's like, okay, it's on. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, and the word that you use tutorial is going to resonate, I think. If I use the word tutorial, excuse me, they'll understand that because they've played games before where, there's a tutorial, there's level one, right? Where like you just learn how to make Mario jump, you know,
Yep. Yep.
and that's what we're doing this on this one. So, any other thoughts before we close down, Ryan?
No, it's exciting. It's exciting. I love the person coming in with few, if any, expectations or assumptions. There are so many like fossilized ideas in my head of like what D&D is and should be. So like challenging those constantly is fun, and it's hard to do that from by yourself or with a bunch of experienced players. Like
Hmm.
new people coming in really frees you up to, I don't know, re-examine everything and prioritize the fun and the creativity of it all. Because this thing, there's 7 versions of this game, 8 versions of this game before we
Mm.
talk about all the other TTRPGs out in the world. So yeah, I would teach kids 5.5 right now because it's the standard updated model. But like, I don't know, there's benefits to being like, you're a dwarf. That's it. That's all you need to. You have an
It's
axe.
all you need to know.
Like that's it.
Right. That's right. Yeah. No,
So
I agree. I mean, doing the prime, I've even written a character sheet, which I need to make into a PDF and make available just for free for everybody. And it's yeah, it's just a simplified character sheet. It's like here's your primary abilities. Boom. Here's how you generate them. Boom. And you can play you can get very far in D&D with just that, right? With just the simple add two to this modifier. What, you're swinging a sword? Okay. Or you're swinging an axe, right? Use strength, right? You don't have to get like real complicated with it. And
yeah, get down to the core of what's important, and then it's very clear what's important and what is fluff that can get in the way.
cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on this video. And if you're on Ryan's channel, make sure you subscribe to that. And if you're on my channel, make sure you subscribe to that. And we'll be doing some more collaborative stuff. We already have a whole bunch of it. And yeah, I hope to see you guys the next time we talk. So have a great day today, Ryan. I'm going to have a blast, I can tell you.
Enjoy.
Thanks.